Hello, this is Raul, and I'm here with a very special guest, Des.
Hi.
So she's going to be part of our women's catch wrestling Grand Prix that's going to be held in Las Vegas on September 5th, right? So I want to introduce the world. Des here, right? So she hasn't just been training in martial arts recently. She's actually has a really long background in martial arts. So can you kind of tell us what you've been up to?
Sure. Well, I wouldn't say a really long background because there are people out there who started when they were very young and are continuing their growth. And I always admired that because they were able to start super young. Where I grew up, we didn't have anything like that. It was a very small mountain town. So we were just outdoor kids climbing trees and rocks and hiking and swimming in ice cold waters. But that's okay because I am here and I'm super excited to be in a place now that I could participate in a catch wrestling, which I've always been fascinated by. Although I've trained in numerous other things, catch wrestling is kind of new to me as far as competition-wise. Definitely have learned certain moves and submissions from it, but this is my first chance to really try it out.
Yeah, that's the thing is like there's not really very many catch wrestling competitions. I think that's why. So we're trying to have more and more, and so hopefully not only will you do this one, but hopefully we can keep on going.
That'd be awesome because I learned about it through pro wrestling. And then I learned that the pro wrestler, well, I actually knew her before she got into pro wrestling. She was a catch wrestler, Shayna Baszler.
Uh-huh.
And just watching that, I was like, this is not jiu-jitsu. What's going on? This is wild. So I've always been interested in learning ever since then. And I kind of expanded my jiu-jitsu from there.
All right, that's actually what I was going to ask right now. So what are some of the martial arts that you do?
So started later in my life, and I want to also press that fact that it's never too late to start doing any kind of combat sports or martial arts. Honestly, if I started earlier, I don't think I would have had the self-discipline to continue on with it. But then again, I think it taught me self-discipline, which was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I stumbled in on a Jiu-Jitsu school. I wanted to learn MMA and act like I was tough and wanted to fight, and they said just do jiu-jitsu, and I said, what is that karate outfit you're wearing? Like, that's how naive I was, and I fell in love. These little girls were just choking my ass out with this gi, the kimono that you wear, and I was hooked. I was like, I gotta figure this out. So that's where I started, only several years ago.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, but you have a really excellent point, and I think let's just reiterate that thing where it's like, say like if maybe like if a parent pressures their child to do any kind of sport, they can really easily just get burnt out. But when you get someone, even if they're not, if they're already an adult, but if they're really impassioned and they're disciplined, then you can actually achieve a lot. And yeah, there's one of the points that I kind of bring up sometimes. So like one of the greatest catch wrestlers in American history, Frank Gotch, in his book, he said that a wrestler isn't mature enough, and like as a wrestler, as a competitor, until age 40.
40?
Yeah.
40?
40.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I got a lot of time then to work on this.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And so a lot of times it is the kind of like the mentality. If you feel like, too old or whatever, and then yeah, of course you're going to fail, right? Like if you think you're going to fail and you believe it, you're going to fail. But if you're disciplined, right, if you're at the point in your life when you actually can be disciplined enough to do it, you can actually do a lot. Right?
Definitely. I don't know why as we grow older we start thinking that we're too old for these certain things. Like our bodies, start developing and getting really strong in our late 20s or early 30s. So even before that, you're not even at your optimum. You couldn't even get at your optimum because it's not like developed, and that's just from little things I've read. But I don't know, it's a society that tells us, oh, we're too old to do this. I don't know, but forget it. Just do what you want to do. Maybe you won't make it to the Olympics. Maybe you will, but that doesn't have to do it. Just go and get good exercise and learn that discipline. Like it enhanced my life so much to just be able to go and get my my ass kicked, honestly. And then to learn, your brain produces new cells every time you learn something, and every time your brain does that, it enhances the rest of your body, and it's just positive all over. So like just once a week would be beneficial for anyone of any age.
Yeah. So don't stop training, and if you're on the fence about training, because actually, it's really good that you brought this up, because we get messages and stuff from people of all different ages who are saying like, oh, am I too old to start catch wrestling or whatever? And but I'll let you know now, like one of the students that I had back in Los Angeles, he was in his 70s, right? But the thing was like he actually could move really quick, and he had been doing different types of martial arts all his life. And so it's like, but don't, like, if you haven't been doing martial arts all your life, don't think that you can't start, right? You can, and just make sure you are doing these other things to take care of your body, like the stretching, yoga or whatever, or these other things that help protect your body. But don't think that you're too old.
Thank you. I know. So you have students contact you, or potential students. I don't even know. Can you tell me about where you started?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right.
If that's okay.
No.
I don't know
the tables have turned.
Well, sorry. It'll help me, understand too.
Yeah. So I started with Chinese kickboxing a long time ago, a few decades ago, and so I trained in China, and I also was 2-time United States champion. But that type of kickboxing has a lot of takedowns and stuff, so it's like a lot of catching kicks. I think it's one of the best kickboxing styles for MMA.
Wow.
Because it has that mix, and then that's what got me into catch wrestling, because I was then at UCLA, as a student, but we had all these martial art classes in our gym, and the jiu-jitsu, even though I would take the class, like it didn't seem like the right fit, right? So then I was like trying to research like what else, or what other kind of grappling style would complement what I like, my background.
Sure.
And so that's how ultimately I ended up discovering catch wrestling. And so I ended up training in the home of catch wrestling in England and stuff.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's really fascinating and random. Like you could go to China and learn Chinese kickboxing and then come back to that. In LA, there's a lot of catch. Barnett has his thing there. Doesn't he teach a lot of catch wrestling there?
I'm not quite sure where he's teaching now.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Throwing names around.
Yeah. So I'm not quite sure where, but yeah. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so you loved it so much. Now you are where you are, and you decided to teach.
Yes, and so that's why we're having our event, so that basically to kind of not only get people aware of this sport, this great sport, but also to maybe get more people attracted to it, because it's an exciting style. Because so you have the background in jiu-jitsu, but one of the other things that catch wrestling has is the pins. But so you can you can win by pin or submission. So that can be kind of a challenge for some people, where it's like either you come from the jiu-jitsu background, or you come from, say, like an amateur wrestling background where you only have pins or a lot of points. Some kind of point system. Catch wrestling doesn't have that. It's actually more closer to a real kind of ongoing fight, where it's like you can't win by taking them down over and over again and racking up points. You actually have to kind of really keep on attacking that person.
Yeah, that's the one thing, like with jiu-jitsu, the players, like we mentioned earlier before the interview, they like to work from their back, and so you don't get pinned in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or no-gi Jiu-Jitsu, and I think that it's hard to remember that, because you can do a lot of submissions from your back in Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm very excited to try this catch wrestling, because the pins, I think, are going to throw in a totally different element, and there's different rules, like certain chokes I'm not going to be able to do, and I'm just excited. So in my training after jiu-jitsu, they asked me, "Do you want to fight?" And I said, "I don't really want to get hit in the face, no." But then I changed my mind, and I did, and I love it. I love punching, and I love getting punched. Not really, but I do like the whole thing of it. So I've had a handful of MMA fights. I train with a team in Las Vegas that's really good, current UFC fighters and former UFC fighters who are the coaches. And we have a special coach come in sometimes who's very into wrestling and catch wrestling. So I've just learned a couple of things from that, and I think I'd like to put it to the test.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the extent of my training, though, is just the jiu-jitsu, which, like I said, enhanced my life through the discipline. And it might not do that for everybody, I don't know. But just try anything, learn something new. That's what I can ever want to condone to anybody.
Yeah, like following the passions.
Yeah,
Like,
just anything.
yeah.
But then that led me to the MMA and to fighting, and then MMA made me realize I need to learn a better stand-up game. So I worked on kicks, taking Muay Thai. We obviously have Muay Thai there, which is really good. I've learned a lot when you lock up in a clinch with elbows and stuff. But like takedowns from kicks or catching kicks is not as they don't teach us that as much. But I'm going to ask, so that would be really helpful. I usually just block kicks. Try to do 1-2 and go in for a takedown, but that's really basic. Seems to work. Basics always work.
Yeah, it totally works. But yeah, just the Chinese kickboxing is just a little bit different, but they're both great styles. But yeah, they're a little bit used to. And another thing, you have to get used to catching kicks and how to catch it,
because it still is gonna hit. Like it's still.
Yeah, you can still get a pretty good slap on the kick. Yeah.
But yeah, in Muay Thai we step either into it or we step away from it and throw the leg, or we step into it, and I always end up pulling them. I don't know, or going for a single leg, but
nice.
Or a trip, but I'm not as good at those. I'm not good at catching kicks, I guess.
Yeah, all the stuff takes practice, right? You even know with the jiu-jitsu, you said like when you first got in there, they were choking you out and stuff. So it's like there's that learning curve.
Definitely, but you never stop learning. There's always getting better at what you know, and then there's always learning new things. And then whoever you're going against has a different style or prefers to do this. Or jiu-jitsu guys who like to be on their back, and jiu-jitsu guys who like half guard. Then you have to learn everything for each of those. Yeah. So it never ends, and that's why it's so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's why it's like you even mentioned the whole the neuro pathways and stuff, where it's like the more new things you learn, especially if there's a physical component to it, that actually really helps to keep your brain young. So going back to our whole thing about never too late to do something, right? So oftentimes you hear in the news and stuff, they're like, oh, learn a new language that's completely different from whatever your native tongue is, but it's actually even better to do something new that's physical, right? So you have not only the brain trying to understand it, but then having to translate it into your body. Yeah. So it's even better. You got like extra stuff going on. Right? Yeah. So learning a language is great. But
learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the Brazilian language. A lot of the stuff is in Brazilian, so you can do both. But yeah, the physical element, putting it into play as well as it affecting your mind it's amazing. And I grew up doing sports. I grew up doing a lot of sports competitively from age 5. I was a competitive swimmer. I did the Junior Olympics in swimming and track and field. Played volleyball and basketball throughout high school. I thought I was going to be a college player. I really thought I was going to be the first woman on the NBA as a kid.
And if you can't tell, she's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be the tallest, that's for sure. I'm only 5'10". But growing up, I definitely was. But I don't know, I just, like you said, I felt like I had to do those things. I felt like that's what was expected of me. I felt like it wasn't my dream, it was my parents. Sorry, Daddy. And so as soon as I grew older and as I could make my own decisions, some stuff happened with the new coach. So anyhow, I think things happen for the right reasons, the way they're supposed to, as long as you're putting out effort. And I was trying, but the basketball thing didn't work out, and it led me here years later, and I like it. I'm super happy that it led me here. I had to go through a window of growing up and maybe partying too much and not knowing what the hell I'm doing with my life, but then I found this, so super grateful for that.
Awesome. So we look forward to like having you compete, and we really want to thank you for accepting the being part of the tournament. So thank you. And but so
You're
if
welcome.
anybody has any questions or anything, where can we find you on social media or anywhere?
So, I have a lot of social medias and a lot of personas. Actually, after I realized I didn't want to do the sports stuff, I realized the only reason why I really liked sports growing up was because I was entertaining people. I really wanted to be an actor and perform, and I did a lot of that prior to this. I'll still have a little gig or commercial role sometimes, but I have like these other accounts that have to do with these other types of work that I do. So for this, there's a lot of places you can find me, and I think for this particular one, I'm going to just share with you my website, and then where you go from there. So I'm Dez, D-E-Z, and I go by Dez Desire, because I think that if we were to pursue our desires, we'd all be a lot happier. And I'm not thinking like desires like they have to be taboo or naughty, just passions and goals and things that you've always wanted to try but you thought it was too late. And I just always like that word, desire. I also heard from some philosopher that having desires is not a good thing, because then you're just focused on this goal and not looking at the big picture. But I didn't really follow through with what they were trying to say, because I think it could behoove all of us to just pursue. Just being happy and grateful every day is what's going to make us find these desires. So my webpage, after all that, is dezdesire.com. And on there you'll see a variety of things that I do. It's a little niche because it doesn't really focus on my athleticism and my real life or a lot of personal stuff. I put a lot of personal stuff on there, but what I do in my real life, I've put into this niche, which is where you found me, where we're a bunch of women who wrestle and do other combat type sports, including judo and Muay Thai, etc. And we kind of went a different path with this athletic skill. Although some of us do both, I still am trying to get pro fights and fight in state-sanctioned fights in MMA, but this is my my side gig, and I'm super excited to be part of it. So I find cool little competitions, not little as in not important, but little as in I call men little. I'm like, oh, your little hat is cute. I'm like, it's not because it's small, it's just verbiage. But so if you just go to dezdesire.com, you'll see a lot of the stuff that I currently do. But that is just one little small part of it. And what I like about what I do on that website is you can see the other talents and things that I do, but it's not limited to even that. And maybe through that I could get to know you guys better.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. So like, I think our conversations kind of touches on some kind of psychological or neuro psychiatric type things, where it's like we all have different interests, and there's so many different aspects to everyone's personality. So I think that's one of the things you're kind of, even from the beginning of the conversation, you've kind of touched on, where it's like, people have different backgrounds, and then maybe they later on they follow, they find something new that they want to pursue. Totally fine, even if it's at a different age. But then there's also so many different aspects of our personalities that it's not like, say you mentioned being a swimmer. It's not like you're only a swimmer. That's not the entirety of you. Right. Yeah. So you are Des, and then you do many things, right?
There's
you have many
so
talents.
much more. Yeah, like we all do. That's the thing, though, especially with social media, is everyone just kind of pigeonholes you into, oh, she does this and that's who she is, or they do that and that's what they do. and it makes it a lot easier for you to get followers or fans or whatever. But that was always challenging for me, is to be pigeonholed, because it's never all that I do. But I noticed when I was trying to promote that I walked on stilts, and that I was acting, I was doing performance art, and then I was getting into jiu-jitsu, and now I'm fighting, like, it confused people. They were like, you love to travel, you're always in this country, you're over here. Like, people just couldn't handle it, so I had to make these separate. I just keep them separate.
Compartmentalize them again.
Yeah.
Make it easier for people to understand.
And it draws in different types of fans. Like, pro wrestling fans aren't interested in my nature stuff, so stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But that's why it's like, say, hopefully for people who are like our fans at Catch Wrestling Alliance, because there's so many different aspects to wrestling even itself, right? There's that whole psychological performance aspect where it's like whether or not you're able to, even though you like put your training into practice, right? Because I mean, you could be really nervous, and maybe you can't, maybe you're great in the gym, but then you just can't perform in competition.
Nervous.
There's all these different things that, in a way, it's like, I'm happy that we're kind of being able to talk about this, because it is part of like any type of sport, but catch wrestling included, right?
Yeah, it is true. Then there's a lot of incredible athletes. I even have some teammates who are phenomenal fighters, but they'll go into the cage and just kind of clam up. Like, it's just so much different when you're putting what you know to the test in front of people in an actual competition, but it pushes you and it fires those neurons, so at least it's something new you learn about yourself. But I'm excited to try this. I know that the competition, one competes in IBJJF jiu-jitsu competitions, and she's 2 belts higher ranking than I am, and she's probably heavier than me, because normally I'm at least bigger than most people, but I don't know about her, but she's going to be challenging. The other girl is a black belt in judo. She qualified for the Olympics, for the Olympic team in judo. I know her. I had a little bout with her in the past. Super strong, really strong. But I noticed the judo people aren't as technical on the ground. They're just good at getting you to the throat.
The takedown, yeah.
But I think she's been training a lot more in the meantime.
Yeah, I've been seeing on her social media she's been trying, but she's been doing a bunch of different things too, like even some kickboxing and stuff.
I think she's wanting to do that fighting thing where they get really attractive women to fight, and they're athletic women, so it's not. Some people complain and say they're, what's the word when you put out, or you what's the word am I trying to do? Exploit, yes. Yeah. When you exploit, some people say they're exploiting these women. First of all, these women are getting paid really good, and they're athletic, and they're able to use their training in an actual thing, but they just happen to have to look like sexy women. Everyone wants to look sexy women, whatever, So I think that's what she's kind of excited about. And then the other girl, I've known her for a while. She's always done Krav Maga. She was the first person I ever heard talk about Krav Maga. And she's not as big as we are, but she is strong.
Yeah.
For this, I don't know.
Really feisty, right?
Feisty.
Yeah.
Even her personality's feisty. And then she's strong. Like, she's just like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of one of the reasons. So, like you mentioned, it's like, so you're with this organization, Sessions Girls, where it's like it's a lot of talented athletes, women athletes, so that are willing to basically compete, right? So and that's why we're working together also too with Jennifer Thomas, who's actually been training. We've been taking some of my classes for since back in the day.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you know her.
Yeah, we've known each other for many years, and so that's why we're working together. And so that's the thing. So we want to try to create more avenues for people, because that's always been the thing about catch wrestling, where it's like a long time ago, professional wrestling was catch wrestling.
That's the only reason why I ever first heard of it. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like if we can kind of bring that back, where it's like we can give, say, collegiate wrestlers, once they graduate, you know, we can see if we can't give that back to them, the sport back to them, where they can pursue this after they graduate, or anybody else who, say like you, who fell in love with martial arts, and you know, I've seen you grapple before, and you're good. So it's like, you know, you really like you're really going for it and really training. So it's like why not have these events to show off your skill?
And like you said, different avenues. So that's what I was trying to say before too. Is like not everyone's going to go to a really great gym and have UFC trainers and then go fight sanctioned fights or like contests. This is just another avenue, another opportunity, another area. And it's really cool that you found girls through Jennifer, because those girls don't get those opportunities just because they don't go to the gyms, but they have the skill or background and talent, but they're not working and being the next Bellator champion, you know? So I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, I think we'll go ahead and end it here. But this is not the last you've heard of Des, and you know, we look forward to how she performs on September 5th at our Women's Catch Wrestling Grand Prix here in Las Vegas.
Can't wait to see you. You better be there.